What do we hope for Kate, or Catherine, as I'm always told to call her from viewers of this show? What are we hoping for this year, based on that template of a gradual return and maybe seen up and down the country?
Well, you've used the key words that we keep on hearing, which is gradual return. I think that they've been at pains, Kensington Palace and everyone else has been at pains to remind us that it is a gradual return. She's not someone who's just going to bounce back immediately into a full schedule of work. She also has 3 kids that she needs to factor in. And I think that what we saw in December feels to me like a bit of a blueprint of what is likely to come for the next 12 months, which is she's doing the work, she's showing up, she's doing it in a more gradual way than we saw previously. She took part in part of the Qatari royal visit. She took part in her annual Christmas carols concert. There'll be large events, I imagine, this year, like Trooping the Colour and other big marquee royal events of the year that she will be supporting the royal family with. And outside of that, I think she'll be focusing on projects like her early years work, because we know that she remained briefed on that for a large part of the year anyway, even while she was out of the public eye. So I think that that's what we can expect to see this year. But unfortunately, it's been taken off the table that she will be taking part in overseas visits. I know Australians will be very disappointed. Really love.
You've just had the King and Queen down there. You'll get William and Kate soon.
William and Catherine, they're the rock stars. There's excitement when they go. But yeah, so I think that what we've seen over the last month or so is probably how it's all going to look over the next 12 months, and as it should. It's been a really harrowing year for her. She's on the mend. But as anyone would in her shoes, she needs that space to have a gradual return to work.
It's good you mentioned the early years projects. We're told that's her the thread throughout the year. Everything that I'm expecting her engagements throughout the year to concentrate on her early years project. This is something she's going to be working on for many, many years, and I think we're going to see her. If we see her talking or making speeches or attending engagements, I think they're going to be very early years focused.
It's kind of cherry picking those major things that she cares about and that she can maintain the work of, but probably not just throwing herself into too many new projects or things where she may not necessarily need to take part this year.
It's a positive start to the year, isn't it?
It is.
William's
I'm excited.
tweet and the Princess of Wales gradual return. We have a bit of optimism. Right. So the Prince of Wales. Now, I thought I knew what the Prince of Wales title meant, because I just assumed that, it's the Prince of Wales. I thought I knew what it was, but I was reading your book and I did learn a lot. Could you tell us, what is the Prince of Wales? Why do we have a Prince of Wales?
So in its current form, the Prince of Wales is a title that the King or the Queen has given to their eldest son, and has done so since 1301, I think, was the first time that the crown, the English crown as it was then, created this title to give to Edward, who later became Edward II. But that was after years of war between the Welsh and the English, where there were princes of Wales previously. In Wales, they're often referred to as the native princes of Wales, before this was a title claimed by the English crown. But over the centuries, relations have clearly improved between the English and the Welsh. But
I hope so. We've invited you down. This is cordial. We're not at war.
This is nice and historic.
Yeah, but it is also a title which has meant different things to different people. And what I found during the course of the book was that you had in Charles a person who was called Prince of Wales and probably showed as much, if not more, commitment to Wales and the Welsh than any of his predecessors. You go back over the years and nobody did it for as long as Charles was Prince of Wales, but also nobody really paid as much attention as he did.
Is that right? I mean, I think it was 64 years, I think.
Yeah, 64 years as Prince of Wales. He was created Prince of Wales when he was 9 years old. Now, lots of people will have seen him having this big investiture ceremony in Carnarvon Castle when he was older. But the Queen created him Prince of Wales because it was in her gift to do that. He didn't sort of inherit the title and get it at birth. It has to always be the monarch that decides to create the title, to create their son, the Prince of Wales. And for him, it was about doing something with it, and especially getting it at such a young age and realising that he was probably going to be Prince of Wales for decades. How do you make the most of that?
Do you think, and it's possibly you've just answered it, I suppose, in there, because he was the heir to the throne for so long, but we knew so much about Charles by the time he became the king. Is it fair to say he's the most outspoken heir to the throne that there has been? We knew the causes that he was championing, and he really pushed a lot of things forward and made his agendas clear there.
We knew that, but he also had more platform than anyone else. He sort of grew up during the modern era of communication, so he was able to make speeches and get them to cut through. But also it meant that when he was deciding what to do, which topics he was going to engage with, fine, we all sort of heard about these views on architecture and his views on alternative medicine and organic farming, things which are now pretty mainstream. But whenever he had adopted these things as his sort of hobby horse, often people raised an eyebrow, if not more, about, well, what's he getting involved in this? And lo and behold, 10, 20, 30 years later, they're pretty mainstream topics. He did that very specifically in Wales, I should say, when he was sent to Wales to learn to be a bit Welsh or to understand the Welsh. He went to Aberystwyth University, and that is the stuff which really stuck with him for life in terms of informing him about Welsh culture. We know he's very receptive to all of this sort of thing as well. That sort of the classic sensitive Charles, but actually he wanted to learn about Wales and to use that and to make the most of it, I think.
So this was taking it historically. This was before his investiture.
Yeah. So
this was when he was taken out from Cambridge University.
Yeah.
And he was sent to study in Aberystwyth, and he was given a Welsh-speaking tutor to learn Welsh.
Yeah.
And it is an extraordinary chapter. It's in The Crown. It's one of the episodes.
So the Crown episode really sums up, is a great dramatisation of what was happening at that time, because he didn't want to leave Cambridge. The sort of the formality of it all was really not what he wanted, but actually the experience he had in Aberystwyth, a sort of an invented curriculum, which meant that he had this sort of crash course in Welsh history and culture.
I've never seen anything like this. I've spoken to his team and I said, why? Because normally the offices of the palaces will just put out a kind of mundane statement wishing, a member of the royal family a happy birthday. But this time, William's really gone for it, hasn't he? Can I read the tweet out to you? React to it. He's written, "To the most incredible wife and mother, the strength you've shown over the last year has been remarkable. George, Charlotte, Louis and I are so proud of you. Happy birthday, Catherine. We love you, William."
Is that a tear I see in your eye, Matt? No, not possibly. I was really taken aback, but in a delightful way, by that tweet, because as you said, it's quite remarkable. I'm going to use a word that's been used so many times in the last 5 years across the board, but it felt quite unprecedented, particularly for a non-major birthday. It's a 43rd. Typically the royals are a little bit more low-key with their personal messages, particularly William. And also it came with a brand new picture of Kate looking very relaxed at home. So I think it really, for me, when I read it and given the context of the last 12 months, we're just shy of the anniversary of her going to hospital for the abdominal surgery, which we all know then led to her cancer battle. I think that it read to me like a man who's feeling relieved and optimistic and happy about the future, and birthdays are such a time for reflection. We spoke about that just a few months ago on Harry's birthday for different reasons, but birthdays are a time of reflection. I think the pair of them will now be at a point where the future's looking a lot brighter than it did, around this time last year, and they'll be very excited to move forward with that. And I think that that's just, getting screamed out from that tweet.
Yeah, William feels like he's rewriting the rules. Now, we'll get on a little bit later about the Prince of Wales, the role that he actually has, but he seems to be rewriting his place in the royal family and the way he communicates. Because only a few weeks ago he described his hardest year. Now he's actually writing this tweet. Do we welcome this kind of show of emotion? Because normally royals are seen as stuffy, emotionless, Victorian, Edwardian era. Do we welcome this openness?
Look, I've really loved seeing it. I think that people were so impacted just because, when Kate announced that she had cancer last March, people were impacted because, of course, they could see themselves or relatives or people they love in that journey. It's something that a lot of people can relate to. And the fact that we've seen such a human side of not just Kate, but of William throughout that time, I think has been really, I'm going to use the word helpful, because I think it gives people that hope and inspiration and relatability. And being able to hear how he really felt about it. He was so honest at the end of last year, saying it's been a brutal year. It's been a terrible time. Of course it has. It's felt honest and authentic that he was able to actually say that. But I do think it heralds quite a new era for him. I just don't think we've ever seen William anything like this before.